we've already read there. But we've been going through this series on preparation for Lent. And this morning we want to talk about God's great purposes and His plans for us. Isaiah captures it really nicely for us in Isaiah 46. Where it basically says, listen and obey God, for He alone has plans to save and carry you. Listen and obey God, for He alone has plans to save and carry you. And he begins, and in beautiful poetry, he talks about how our idols so often are a weight to us. Now, we don't always have idols the way that the ancient Israelites had. We don't usually make little graven images and carry them around and bow down to them and all that sort of stuff. We do things a little bit differently in our sophisticated Western culture. Instead, we just make different things. Toys, trinkets, things that give us pleasure. Maybe we worship our own pleasure. Maybe we worship ourselves and our power, our strength. But what we can do, we don't need anyone else. We can worship ourselves. We have all these different things, and they're all designed to make it easier for us, to make life easier for us, right? To add some purpose, to help carry our burdens and all the struggles that we have in life. But the problem is, they don't really do that, do they? They don't really make it easier. They just add more weight, more stress on our shoulders. We need to try harder. Just keep going. Try again. If you didn't do it the first time, keep trying. Maybe one more toy. Maybe one more fistful of money will be the solution. One more relationship will fix everything. But the problem is it's all man-made solutions. And Isaiah captures this. Where he says, these things you carry, they were meant to carry you. But these things you carry are born as burdens on weary beasts. And together they go into captivity. Not only do they not ease your burdens, they don't ease your weight. They add to it, and they drag you further off to slavery, into bondage, into captivity. Instead, he says, listen to God. And the words here, Pastor Dave talked about the Shema a few weeks ago. Do you remember that? Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, He is God alone. This is that exact same word from the Shema that He uses here, to listen. It means to listen up. Obey. Allow these words I'm saying to come in and penetrate your heart, to change you from the inside out. Take it into the very core of your being and allow it to change who you are. Listen to me, O house of Jacob, house of Israel. All those of you who've been born from me, I'm the one who bore you, who carried you from the very womb to your old age. The entire course of your life, right? I am the one who will carry you. I'm the one who will save. See, so often we get after things that are popular. And to give you a brief history lesson, when the point of history comes around, Isaiah's writing this letter. Israel is divided into two kingdoms. The northern of Israel and the southern of Judah. And things weren't going all that good. The people thought, you know what, this God, I don't know if He's doing it for me anymore, the way I want to. They look around, and there was other nations that other people seemed to be doing it better. At least they were more popular. They were more powerful. They had the prestige, the richness. One of those kingdoms was Assyria. And Assyria came in eventually, and they went to town on a lot of people. And they carried most of the Israelites into captivity. Millions of people were never heard from again. The entire northern nation of Israel was wiped off the face of the earth for the most part. And so people started worshiping their gods, thinking, well, if they're the powerful nation, if they're the popular people, who they've got the prestige, they've got the authority, maybe we'll worship their gods. Maybe their gods will do for us what they're doing for these Assyrians. People started worshiping them. It wasn't long before the new kid came on the block, and it was Babylon. And all of a sudden, Babylon starts taking over Assyria. And these gods that Isaiah lists here, Bel and Nebo, are the two patron gods of Babylon. So often we think, well, I don't know if God's doing it for me anymore. I don't see His plan coming yet. It doesn't feel like it's here right now. I don't feel safe. I don't feel comforted at this moment. Maybe Bel or Nebo. Maybe something else will work for me. And He calls His people back with the word of the Shema to remind them of their roots. He says, listen to me. Listen, take this to heart. I alone am the God who has carried you all this way. From the time you were born, I was watching over you, even then. You thought it was your mama carrying you, but it was me carrying you. And I will not stop carrying you, not even till you're old and gray, not even then. I will never stop carrying you. I am the one who will save. I'm not like those idols you worship. I'm not like those man-made solutions. In fact, you can't even make up a solution that will work. Because as much as you try to make up your own solutions, they're incapable of doing what I can do. They are dependent on the amount of energy that you can put into it. Just like a golden image is completely dependent on someone melting down the gold, pouring it into the desired shape, design, or whatever, and then it just sits there on your shelf. It can't move unless you carry it. You can pray to it all you want. It can't hear. Our own idols, whether they're just work harder, whether it's just get some more money, or another relationship, or all these different things, they're completely dependent on the amount of energy we put into them. Isn't it true? They can't do a single thing for us apart from our own energy. It says, remember this. Stand firm. Recall it to mind your transgressions. Remember the former things of old. Again, this word remember, it's got kind of three facets to it. One is just remember through your own mental energy. Like remember what happened a long time ago. Think on it, meditate on it, dwell on it. There's another connotation. As you're doing that, you might need to write something down as you help remember these things. It's a mental capacity, a meditation that has a physical component to it. As you recall these things, you might need to do something acting on. The third part of this word actually involves doing things. Maybe sharing these memories with people. Writing them into a song, into a poem, into a list, posting them on your wall. All these things are what God asked the Israelites to do in that Shema. Where He says, hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. He alone is your God. Meditate on them day and night. When you lay down, when you wake up, when you're walking on the road. Discuss them. Teach them to your children, to those who you run into along the way, to the neighbors, to the people in the grocery store. Share what God is doing. Write them on your forehead, on the doorposts of your house. Remember all these things. For I am God. There is no other. There is none like me. Who else can do for you what I have done? Remember how I have saved you in the past. Remember all those promises that I will yet save. There's no one like me. There's no one like me. There's no one who can do for you what I have done. There's no one who can do for you what I will yet do. I have plans. I have purposes. I have told you them from long time ago. They have not changed. They have not changed. There's one really interesting little bit. In the middle of this, he says, my counsel shall stand, and I will accomplish all my purpose. Calling a bird of prey from the east, and the man of my counsel from a far country. Now, that kind of sticks out in my head. I don't know about you. But that doesn't sound very comforting. He says, okay, I've got plans. I've declared them to you from a long time ago. They haven't changed. These plans are for your good, to save, to carry you, to restore you, to lead you in peace in my presence, right? But then he says, part of this involves a bird of prey from the east. If you read the surrounding context, the other chapters in this book of Isaiah, it seems pretty clear he's talking about a guy by the name of Cyrus. In fact, some of the translations actually put his very name here. Now, as if bird of prey wasn't a nice enough image, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but those stupid crows and ravens are not my friend. I don't want them anywhere near me or anything I own. And this Cyrus guy was a warlord, king of a neighboring country that in about 50 years' time was going to conquer Babylon. And you know what conquering kings do. They kill, they maim, they destroy, they enslave people. It's not fun on the receiving end of these things. And Isaiah is saying, this is coming. And this is part of my plan. I don't know about you, but that doesn't get me terribly excited. When God says, I have got plans, they are good plans for you, but they won't feel good. It will work out for your good in the end, but for a period of time, you will not like it. You will question it. You will doubt it. You will wonder, what is God doing? Because it does not feel anything remotely good at the moment. But don't worry. I will work it out for your good. Pastor Dave talked about that last week when he talked about Romans 8, 28 and 29, where it says, for I know the plans I have for you. Pardon me. Where he says, he is faithful and... Wait, that's not the right word either. Okay, never mind. I will read it for you. Romans 8, chapter 8, verses 20 and 29. There we go. We know that those who love God, all things work together for their good. And we usually stop there, don't we? Good thing I read that. For we know that those who are called, who love God, all things work together for their good. And we think, oh man, I just want it to be good. We forget the next verse. The next verse says, for those called according to his purpose, for those to be conformed to the image of his Son, to be made more like Jesus. That's what the plans are. It's not for our comfort, it's for our good. It's a big difference. To be made more like Jesus, not to be made more comfortable, to be made more wealthy, to be made more influential or popular or powerful, to be made more like Jesus. And he says, with this bird of prey, this Cyrus guy, he's a big part of this. There's a vital component. You might not be comforted by it, but there's a vital component in it you need to learn and grow, to be made more like Jesus. But don't worry, because I have spoken, I will bring it to pass. I will accomplish my plans from long ago. I will accomplish it. You can be faithful in that. You can be assured in that God, who is faithful, will carry it out to completion. He says in Philippians 1, verse 6. I can be confident in this, that the very God who began a good work in you will be faithful to carry out until it's completed. God does not change. He will accomplish his purposes. Listen to God. Again, the Shema. Listen. Take it to heart. Though you are stubborn of heart, though you are far from righteousness, he will bring his righteousness. He is not delaying. He will bring his righteousness. He will help you live the way you were meant to live. He will help you be right before God. He will bring his salvation. Even now, he is bringing it. I love how this translation puts it. My salvation will not delay. I will put salvation in Zion for Israel, my glory. Zion was just a beloved word saying, my people, the ones who are truly mine. I will put my salvation in you. Listen, remember, obey God, for he alone has and will save and carry you. He is the God who will do what no other God can do. In fact, to him, there is no comparison. All these man-made solutions, they just add weight to our backs, don't they? Add bondage to us. He alone is the one who can save, who can carry. This morning, we want to celebrate communion. I'm going to ask the ushers to come forward as we prepare. And as we hand out the bread, I want us to take a few moments. There's going to be some quiet, meditative music playing. I want you to just remember the things that God has done for you. It's so easy to forget them. I remember once when I was in college, I was having a really tough summer. My money was running out, and I still had another year of school to go. What was I going to do? I did not know. And I was stressing out and worrying about this. I remember one day just driving around town, and all of a sudden it sprung in my head, wait a minute, God has done this for me. And he did that. And remember when he did that too? And all of a sudden it just started flooding through my head, all the things that God had done in the past. And how he had cared for me in similar and in different situations. And all of a sudden, my perspective began to change. And I remember talking to God and saying, God, you've done all these things in my past. And now, you know what? I think I can just let the stress melt away. I know there's a bit of a tension here. I'm not sure where I'm going to get this money from. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. But God, you've been faithful to do all these things. And I know I can trust you. And my focus began to just simply see, well, God, I am curious to see how you're going to solve this problem now. Maybe that will happen to you. As we pass out the bread, I want you to just think about, what are the things God has done in your past? Maybe you need to just meditate on them. Maybe you just need to take your bulletin and start writing them down. Maybe you need to write them into a song or use one of those old psalms where they would just list the things God has done for them.